Sasagi! Ooh, Sasagi! And I am here with Final Fantasy XIV. It has been a while. 2 months? 2 months, maybe? Well, we play Final Fantasy a lot, but this is the first time I've actually introduced Final Fantasy in a bit. So, we are gonna do... What are we gonna do? We are gonna do all the new stuff that came out. There's quite a few story threads and so on and so forth. I don't know where any of them are. The most important being Hildebrand. But I don't know where any of these start. I also need to change my outfit because we're not doing Hildebrand in... I don't know if I have any good summoner outfits. I don't think so. We're not gonna do Hildebrand in our Realm Reborn stuff. I think too fancy for Hildebrand. And we could actually go do Red Mage. Oh, too spooky. This is for White Mage. We could go as a little Garlean. White Mage, Alchemist, Healer outfit, but this is my Scholar outfit. White Mage, Astrologian. Although any race or any class could technically wear this. This actually ain't bad. Dancer, Machinist, Bard. What class is this for? Monk? Yeah, Monk and Samurai. This is my tank outfit. More tank. More tank. Nothing, nothing. Okay. I think we're gonna go do this one. Should keep my flowers in my hair. And it won't change my weapon. Ayo, ayo, ayo. There we go. Okay. Now we need to find out where all these quests are. I just don't know. Actually, let me pull up the patch notes. Patch notes. That will tell me what I need. 6.15. No, don't teleport anywhere. Let's go. Chronicles of a New Era have been added. Beyond the Rift is actually here. Beyond the Rift is actually here first. So let's actually do that. That starts in Old Charlene. We'll just go down the. We'll go down the line. Hello, hello. We're doing a bit of Final Fantasy today. We will go back to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on Tuesday. Old Charlene. Yeah, we started that yesterday. Oh, the music was so intense in my house. Oh, man. It's gotta be this. No, this is Tataru's thing. Of Mother's Emergence. Oh, it's this one. Who are you and why can't I do this? Uh-oh. Oh, this is for the delivery quest. Okay, everything's in Old Charlene. Hell yeah. Welcome aboard. Okay. Oh, Meg. Don't look at these. I haven't done them. I didn't finish any of them. All my guys are at 90. Not these. I didn't finish with those. It was hard. Well, getting the materials was obnoxious, so I simply didn't. But I do want to finish those stories. Where am I going? I have to be 90 to do this, y'all. The bispeckled technician is enjoying the refreshing harbor breeze. Oh, that's blowing the cobwebs away. Time to return to work. Goodness me, look who it is. How incredibly serendipitous that I would run into you of all people. Oh, I can. What parts do you want explained? I was part of the team which designed the Ragnarok, you see, and we've recently begun the process of combing through the vessel's fight log data. The primary objective of your journey to Ultima Thule was to save our star and countless others, of course, but it also provided us with an invaluable trove of information, records of places and events we could only dream of. Your safe return gave us much to be thankful for. As it so happens, one of the things we pulled from the log was a transmission of unknown origin, something the ship must have intercepted during its fight. We believe it to be an audio message, but even our most talented linguistics have been unable to decipher the language. For a while there, it seemed we must accept defeat, but today may be the day that we finally solve the mystery. If you were so inclined, would you care to come to Thamazan? It seems fitting to have one of Ragnarok's original passengers be present to hear the history being made. That fight is insane. As of right now, that fight, the King Thornton fight, is the hardest and longest fight Final Fantasy has ever made. So there's a couple of tiers of fight. There's the regular story, which everyone can do, no problem. Then there is there's fights called Extreme, and they're usually an advanced version of the harder fights, of like trials and stuff, regular story fights. So they have more difficult mechanics and whatnot, but not like an average person could do them if they like tried. And then you have Savage, which is genuinely difficult content. It's for like the raid team. So like your typical like WoW mythic stuff, I would say. And then you have this ultimate fight, which is just the mechanics, I would say, themselves aren't so hard, but it's many mechanics all happening at the same time. So you're dealing with 4 or 5 things at once. Plus the fight is long, so it punishes you for dying. So the Thornton fight, including the door boss, is 21 minutes, but not including the door boss is a 19-minute fight in which you have to play perfectly. So you have to play perfectly. There is very little margin for error, and you just have to do it. You have to do it for 19 minutes. The other ultimate fights that there have been about 17 minutes. 16 I think is the shortest, but it's perfect play, perfect consistent play for a long period of time. It's not impossible, but it is very hard, and not everyone can do it. Well, it takes hours and hours of practice. That is one part of, so we fight the 2 knights at the beginning, and then we fight the 3rd knight, and then we go in to fight him. He will jump away, and we will fight a different fight. It's a bunch of like smaller bosses all in a row. So there's that was phase 2. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 more phases after that. Each phase is about 3 minutes long. So we're about halfway through that phase. The reason why we kept dropping usually is if someone dies in some of those mechanics, it's just better to wall it because it can't be done now. No, that is actually a very that boss actually, what you see me fighting all the time, that boss actually has a very small HP bar, with a DPS check of 33k because of all the times he jumps away and stuff. So he doesn't even have that much health in comparison to the knights we were fighting. So we'll kill him, and then we'll fight a different boss, and that boss, I have all the numbers somewhere in my notes. That boss will have like 50k HP, or a 50k HP DPS check, and so we go through that. But it's more the mechanics that we're doing is the hard part, and not so much like the boss health pools. Those are fairly generous, a bit tight considering all that you have to do. Oh, there you are. This is where we're to meet the engineers from Garland Ironworks, who I am told potentially hold the key to unlocking our mystery transmission. They should be along at any moment. Sorry we're late. We had some trouble finding the right... Gosh, is that you, Kasasagi? It's gonna be Biggs and Wedge, yeah. I mean, it is technically like that. That fight definitely is like that. Not all of... That fight is the exception. Like, 100% the exception. Most fights are not like that. Even in Savage, like the raid tier to get the best gear, you can have people dying, it's okay. Yes, the woman herself I ran into at the harbor and thought if anyone deserved to hear this message deciphered, it was Kasasagi Kazuki. No argument here, but bugger me if you didn't have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. This actually has more to do with you than you might think, so please, do stick around. Shall we pick up from where we left off, then? It's just Biggs. Well, Wedge should be around. As I was saying, we think the transmission the Ragnarok intercepted is a message of some kind, albeit in a language entirely alien to ours. Alien being the operative word here, considering we've received the message out in the great expanse, its origin was likely some distant star. Unfortunately, our list of off-world allies is presently rather short, thus we were resigned to the fact that the meaning behind the message would remain beyond our understanding. One of my colleagues, however, refused to give up. She remembered the Ironworks engineers who had been so helpful in the construction of the Ragnarok and turned to them for insight in our seemingly impossible problem. Do you know that Wedge said that when he heard what was going on? We should have Omega listen to it. I bet he can tell us what the message means. Not the Omega you beat in the Rift, of course. He's talking about the toy that trundles around with Alpha, the little model we made. We originally designed it to follow a chosen target and not much else, but I've seen it act in ways that, well, it's like it has a mind of its own. Then I got to thinking about those documents your lot sent the Chief, their full report on the final days. In the part about Omega's civilization, it is said that their people discovered how to convert the mind into data and store it outside the body. Timing being what it was, I wonder if Omega didn't somehow transfer its consciousness into our model right before you put an end to the real one. Alpha. Excellent, excellent. So, in an effort to get to the bottom of that, as well as take a crack at this indecipherable message, we decided to make some modifications. With help from Labyrinthios technicians, we've upgraded our toy Omega with a fully functional vocalization module. We played the transmission for Omega, and I think it's ready to share. Are you in there, Omega? Affirmative, if by Omega you are referring to my consciousness rather than my entire form chassis, existing inside this considerably smaller frame. Prediction. You will formulate several misconceptions. There, I shall preemptively dismiss based on the following facts. 1. Vocalization module aside, this chassis remains unmodified from the design constructed by the engineers Biggs and Wedge. I evaluate its combat capabilities to be on par with a mortal infant. 2. The mechanism which allowed me to perform an emergency transfer of my consciousness was installed in my previous body. With the destruction of that body, I am rendered incapable of replicating such a feat. Should this current model be destroyed or cease to function, all cognitive awareness or presence I possess will also be lost. These were some of my concerns, yes. Conclusion. I present no threat to you or your star, nor due to my projections indicate the necessity to inflict harm. The fraction of movement before my annihilation in the rift, I re-examined my directives. I am to fulfill my purpose as an evolving construct, then I will continue my journey for improvement for as long as I exist. I must acquire this heart of yours, this strength of soul. Thank you. I'm actually off tomorrow, but Tuesday is when we start Xenoblade Chronicles. But yes, I will see you then. Well, there you have it, and it's not wrong about its combat capabilities. It'd be more likely to damage itself than the thing it was trying to attack. But let's not forget the reason we brought you here in the first place. What about the transmission they played for you? Could you recognize the language? Affirmative, if it was transmitted in Pan-Galactic Basic. Pan-Galactic Basic? A common language in comparatively extensive usage throughout the worlds we have conquered. Which means you can finally tell us what this message said, that it is a language you understand, yes? I understand it perfectly. I am fluent in over 6 million distinct dialectal codings. My cooperation in this matter, however, is conditional. Elaboration. Your Chief Sid utilizes the floor as part of an unorthodox filing system, which allowed me to scan the report on the final days. God damn it, Sid. I'm aware that my homestar, the one you called Alvatron, was obliterated in the aftermath of Sir and Medion's meeting. The existence of Dynamis has not previously factored into my projections, but I now comprehend the concept and theory. What fails to compute is why the Omicrons were not immune to its effects. Dynamis should have no influence on a race which possesses no heart. And yet Sir expressed to Medion a desire to cease existing. Illogical. I must pursue this anomaly further until the full equation becomes clear to me. I must analyze all the elements of the final days and deepen my understanding of the heart's intangible properties. To expedite this process, I require an external interpretation of these sections of the report which continue to produce errors in my calculations. I request the assistance of Kasasagi Kazuki, as one who experienced the ravages of ultimate despair on multiple fronts and displayed immeasurable heart in engineering my defeat. She is the optimal choice to fulfill this role. So we either agree to your conditions or you tell us nothing. I'm sorry to put you on the spot like this, Kasasagi. If you have the time and the patience to spare, we'd all be grateful if you could humor the toy's demands. Has Alpha dozed off? I suppose the subject was a bit technical. Bloop. Rouse yourself, Alpha. You must listen to and consider these matters even as I must. Queh. Why don't you make a trip out of it? You know, actually visit the places that has the Omega things Omega wants to ask about. It'll make explaining stuff easier for one, and also help Alpha keep Alpha awake and alert. I see you have chosen the mutually beneficial option. Logical. Setting aside the matter of Sir, there are 3 elements on the report of which I desire clarification. The first of these concerns the progression of the final days at Razathan. I recognize no pattern in those who succumbed to the transformation and those who did not. That's a bit of a trick if you wanted to chat with the locals. How about we lend you an airship? We do not require such outmoded technology. Kasasagi's teleportation spell is the most efficient option for long-distance travel. The chassis is a model, essentially a toy, and Alpha, despite his organic composition, is indistinguishable from a stuffed doll. Conclusion, we qualify as material possessions. Pick us up, you can teleport the 3 of us to our destination. I'm so excited to be doing stuff with these 2. Sensors indicate we have arrived at Razathan. Objective, identify factors for resistance to involuntary transformation. Hypothesis, unaltered survivors of the final days will display significant strength of heart. Confirming this theory will require the cooperation of live subjects, which is the ward designated for... Where is the ward designated for residential habitation? Understood. Kama is set as our sub-destination. Please take the lead and select the subjects we are to interview. Omega and Alpha are now accompanying you. Keep them at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave your quest companions behind by entering different area or by speaking with them and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish your companions to join you again, please speak with them at their original location. Ah! Yes. Yes! I don't think I'm going the right way. I don't usually walk around. Oh, yeah, that's it. Warning, please avoid stairs whenever possible. My projections indicate high risk probability for accidental slippage, leading to catastrophic structural damage. Steps. Steep inclines also increase my energy consumption by 63%. In mortal terms, they tire me out. Taking into account the difference of individual limb length, the design is inherently flawed. A concept step height for one is exhausting trial of another. Were I to oversee the civic design of this settlement, I would construct a sloped conveyor belt, which enabled automatic traversal. Zero potential energy expenditure. Quick, 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 quick! Elflet chirps enthusiastically, apparently unfazed by the prospect of climbing the stairs. Sorry, Omega. I don't think there's a way to not do stairs. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Are you a traveler? Please, if you have a moment, I could use an outsider's perspective. You see, I was one of those who sought to escape the madness plaguing the world by fleeing to the moon. Not that we ever went in the end. So here I am, recently returned from Charlian, except now things are strained between my sister and I, since she chose to stay and I chose to leave. I asked her to help me find work, and she suggests I look somewhere that isn't Thavnair, as if I wanted to abandon my home. It makes me so angry. Your point is unclear. You elected to relocate to the star's satellite, thus your relative now perceives you as in a negative light. Your sibling's judgment is an error. Based on the information made available to Hainish citizens, your decision to withdraw to the moon was both logical and correct. Conversely, the decision to remain at Razatan despite the low probability of survival defies explanation. Perhaps our reasoning pathways are faulty. That's right. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I'm right, aren't I? Or I'd like to think. The problem is I understand why my sister feels this way. I almost decided against going myself, even though I wasn't sure that leaving behind everything I loved was the right choice, and with the way it all turned out, Oh, hello again. You're the one who came to ask me questions about Kazazal. I'm so glad to see you looking well after all that unpleasantness. I remember the burning skies and hearing the screams, but truth be told, I'm still confused as to what actually happened. I only know it wasn't unusual for entire families to go missing. Many of my neighbors' houses lie empty even now. Kazahal's place is one of them. He had no close relatives to speak of, and I heard that it was the members of the consortium who came to remove his belongings. What a terrible thing to have to do. Terrible? Kazahal's passing was recorded in the report. Clearing out his domicile and readying it for new habitation seems an appropriate reallocation of resources. Dear me, what a clever little contraption. But of course I'm not against making use of his quarters. That would be wasteful. It's simply that Kazahal was always such a vigorous person. All that passion, all those dreams, suddenly gone. I feel the same sorrow for everyone who was lost, seeing the remnants of those vibrant lives packed away into boxes. That is what I mean by terrible. Hey, don't I know you? Yes, after the beasts were taken care of, you told me to join everyone in the square. Thanks to you, I was there when Vitra gave his speech, and I found out who Varsharan really was. It's a shame we don't get to play like we used to, but Mama says Vitra has been busy putting the city back in order. Maybe I can work for him one day, when I'm a grown man. Vitra, Midgar Somer's offspring, yes? And this child wishes to put himself at the worm's command, that he might make his own contribution to society? A pattern emerges. I predict the Hainish survivors are those who had ingested Vitra's blood and became his dragonic minions. Though dragons were no match for our civilization's might, their combat capabilities are not to be underestimated. It is unlikely they would experience emotions of dread or uncertainty as exhibited by lesser beings in times of undue stress. Dragons? I'm not a dragon, and I've never ingested anyone's blood either. You are not of Vitra's horde? So you possess no hidden means to fight off your beasts? What a fear, then! You were frightened? Yes, I was frightened. I just hid and hoped they wouldn't find me, at least until she told me it was safe to come out. Kazazagi, I require a moment to process this input. Let us move apart and discuss our findings. Processing data. Evaluating hypothesis against accumulated evidence. I offered an optimal analysis of each subject's testimony, yet each time their responses conflicted with my assessment. Without identifying the root cause of this conflict, I was unable to properly define what constitutes strength of heart. Perhaps we should continue the questioning. Acknowledged. A larger sample size will increase the probability of discovering an underlying pattern. Next, I wish to interact with an individual who endured similar circumstances to Kazahal prior to his transformation. Are you acquainted with any local merchants who had dealings with him? Dijamba of Rudier Fibers. Acknowledged. Sub-destination set. Where's Hildebrand? Okay, before we talk to this, I have to text my sister back. She's asking me what I want from the store. And I simply don't know. But if I don't answer, I'm gonna get nothing. Alright. Well, look who it is. I must thank you again for your help in moving our textiles. Recovering from those tragic events has been difficult, of course, but with everyone pulling together, we've managed to get things back up and running. Dajimba, I come with questions related to the tragedy, specifically your survival of the final days. Although you're similar to Kazazal in many respects, he could succumb to the transformations and you did not. Why? What is the critical difference between you and him? What? I'm not sure I know. Probably one had a failing business, and this man is fairly successful. I'm not especially brave or courageous, if that's what you're asking. Fucking ants everywhere. We've got, like, these tiny little ants, and they're not doing anything. They're just existing. They're existing by crawling on me, which is not my favorite thing. It's just like one or two that come from the window. Perhaps being focused on protecting our workshops has kept me from spinning into a panic. Still, I imagine Kazazal would have been feeling the same sense of responsibility. Perhaps the weight of it all is what invited his demise. You were of the same mind, resolved to the same purpose. Yet your strength of heart, of spirit, was not equal. If merely emulating the individuals is insufficient, then some other unseen factor must be involved. Not to interrupt these deep philosophical musings, but do you think I could ask you a small favor? There's a man by the name of Navshan who's been helping us out here while he gets back on his feet. I have a feeling he'd benefit from speaking with you. Leave by the eastern exit, and you should find him just outside, organizing some new inventory items. Quick! Alpha puffs out his chest proudly, seeming to imply that his Ironworks uniform is the best attire anyone could wear. Oh. The equipment being manufactured here is worn to perform specific duties, yes? Conceptually, it seems analogous to our practice of switching frames to better serve our mission's objectives. I, for example, did not begin existence with the Omega model. I was originally supplied for a standard issue Omicron chassis, serial number M017. On this world, the alphanumeric combination would be considered my given name. Such designations are drawn from our nearly infinite register of celestial bodies to avoid the possibility of duplication. Furthermore, the cluster known as M017 is better expressed in your language as the Omega Nebula, the same word I use to introduce myself to your kind. Though you associate Omega with the advanced weapon construct, it is also my name, and I see no reason to change it, no matter which frame I inhabit. That's all our orders accounted for, and everything looks to be of good quality. Kamala will be pleased. So, you were with the Science. You were there. Yes, I'm sure of it. I'll never forget that day. You and your friends helped us escape when the people began changing into beasts. My own son, he was afflicted when that huge monstrosity loomed right over him, and I remember my heart turning to ice, freezing in place. The satrap came to my aid, but then he too was gone. The memories run together in my mind like flashes from a nightmare. Only the words of your comrade still ring clear. I repeated them over and over like a mantra as I fled for my life. You must run, for their sake and your own. It all seems so surreal, which was probably what saved me from the transformation. The truth of it didn't really sink in until the worst of it was over. I have not the words to describe how I felt then. The sorrow, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. I may still be wallowing in misery, if not for my old friend, Dajimba. I'd lost my will to work, and he encouraged me with kind words and odd jobs. Now, somehow, I will live again. I'm thankful to him, to the courageous Ahuan, and to you. If you see your comrades, please let them know their efforts were not in vain. You said you lost your will to work. This signifies a cessation of efforts to maintain basic life functions, yes? What changed to extract you from the stagnation? An offer of work from Dajiba should mean little to one without the desire to accept it. What? Was it some manner of mortal instinct, a primal need to survive and thrive? Instinct? No, it wasn't that. If anything, my instincts were telling me to lay down and welcome an end to the pain. Every day, I think of my boy's final moments. I think of how scared he must have been, how it must have hurt, and I want to scream my throat raw. The satrap, too, still haunts my dreams. I see him being swallowed whole and jolts awake in a cold sweat. But something changed when Dajiba came to me. I looked up and saw that even without my son or Ahiwan, the world around me continued to turn. And because that fact grieved me so, I knew it fell to me to live on and remember them. Strange, isn't it? What drives me to rise in the morning is the very sorrow which once crippled me. Now I really must return to my work. To lose this job after everything I just said would be a poor jest indeed. May the sisters keep you well. Sorrow, the emotion generated by mortals when their ideals fail to materialize. This I have observed. Yet when I listen to how Navja and Sorrow served to rescue him from his near-fatal despondency, this logic eludes me. Am I incapable of perceiving the full measure of the heart's properties? My best projections failed to predict the subject's response, and despite their almost equal occupational and mental parameters, Dajiba and Kazazal exhibited different reactions to the dynamis effect. I am no closer to recognizing the pattern for involuntary transformations, and your ephemeral mortal spirits confound me as much, if not more, than they did before. Have you considered that there is no pattern to the people afflicted? No pattern. You imply that the transformation was not contingent on individual fortitude, but rather random, contributed of environmental factors. Such a theory would explain the otherwise conflicting data. Very well. I shall accept this as a provisional conclusion to this part of my investigation. I do, however, expect to continue supplementing my education of heart-related matters. Omega has selected a new destination. Our next destination will be Camp Broken Glass. I desire elaboration on the dealings between the Ilzabard contingent and the citizens of Garlemald. The report described by the contingent's purpose as the salvation of the local populace. Furthermore, both factions fared a common enemy in the Tefalori. Why did they not immediately combine forces to their mutual benefit? The consistency requires closer examination. Kazasagi, initiate teleportation. Oh, they just take me here sometimes. Hell yeah. Oh, he's so cold. Teleportation successful. Evaluating immediate environs. A cold weather region by Etheria standards, but significantly less extreme than a star with ice planet classification. This body should not be unduly impeded. In contrast to Elva and his uncontrollable shivering, my frame appears highly resistant to low temperatures. Retrieving data. Records indicate that the remnants of the contingent force and a number of Imperial citizens yet inhabit this location. We must speak with representatives from both factions and implore their respective attitudes. Proceed. Omega and Alpha are now accompanying you. It is cold here. Too cold. Kasasagi, came to see how things are progressing, have you? I can't speak for the overall strategy, but communication with the locals has become a damn sight easier since Eulis and his soldiers stepped in to help. Oh, we should still have our fair share of distrust, of course. Some folk even think we're enslaving minds with our forward magics. We have Amina to thank for putting the ad idea in their heads, but all things considered, I'd say we're doing pretty well. Establishing an open dialogue was the first big step. Query, you consider this level of progress acceptable? The reality of your efforts falls short of the ideal. If your aim is to provide the efficient succor to the local populace, then absorbing their numbers into your command structure would be the optimal path. Oh, I wouldn't want to go that far. We're not looking to take over their nation. If we're to do this the right way, we need to reorganize and respect each other's way of life. So, while it may not be the easiest solution, I agree with the contingent slow and steady approach. I'm just happy we're saving lives. A shadow from the past. Yes, I know you from Victor's spoils. Have you come to laugh at me, a wretch who chose to lose Licinia and her sister rather than accept your help? The fool ended up relying upon your charity nonetheless. Oh, perhaps I deserve your duration. My compatriots surely scorned my failed conviction. I've shamed my people and brought dishonor upon my nation. I am no better than a beast, my pride sold for a bowl of feed. But my soul? Nay, that you shall not have. I refused your honeyed offers at a new home. This land is where I belong, and this is where I shall remain. You demonstrate opposition to your contingent's overtures? On what basis do you refuse this cooperation? The data suggests that the local populace is struggling to produce the bare minimum of sustenance. Have you some secret strategy for survival, or do your orders compel you to accept your present misfortune? What? Am I being mocked by a Magitech toy right now? No, I have no secret strategy, no binding orders. I but comport myself as any true Garlean patriot would. Uncompromising, unbending. Oh, shoot. Blast it all. Once again, this input is unanticipated. Let us move aside and process what we have heard. Accessing and analyzing recorded data. Integration complete. I have evaluated the most recent input and made comparisons to our discoveries at Rasadhan. Consistent only in their inconsistency, the responses from this contingent member and Imperial citizen were highly irrational. Conversely, any Omicron, considering their predicaments, would have echoed my assessment exactly. The divergence from self-evident logic is key. Hypothesis. The illogical relationship between would-be saviors and suffering populace is another result of unpredictable nature of mortal hearts. Any property or ability has inherent advantages and disadvantages, yet never have encountered such unique detriment. It appears that those who share your metaphysical capabilities are prone to completing simple cognitive processes. An undesirable quality, I will, however, persist in furthering my understanding of the subject. Query. Prior to formulating our next step, I wish to know who this Licinia the Imperial mentioned. Acknowledged to summarize insufficient data on foreign culture resulted in inadvisable and ultimately fatal action. I witnessed such self-destructive behavior during the course of our planetary conquests. Overwhelmed, enemy forces would voluntarily withdraw into perilous regions, leading to a succession of inevitable losses. Tangential data request. I wish to learn about burial customs. This practice has ever seemed nonsensical, but new data suggests it arises from the same source as your cognitive complications. Take me to this Lucina's burial site. It may aid me to understand. Energy delivery systems compromised. Core temperature critically low. Warning, immediate heating required. Request, apply friction to outer frame. He's frozen solid. Temperature nominal. Energy level stabilizing. The creators of this model must have experienced impaired cognitive reasoning during their design process. Upon our return, I request additional climate shielding, as well as an accurate temperature sensor array. This will not affect my combat capabilities, but should improve basic survival rate. Reconfirming sub-destination. In which direction will we find Victor's spoils? Acknowledged. Alpha, you are to remain in close proximity, close enough to envelop me in your feathers. You are permitted to carry me on your back if you so choose. I wonder if we're going to get to Hildebrand today. This little quest is taking a little bit longer than I surmised. We have to do our weeklies too. So after we do this, we have to do Annalise and we have to do the elephants. And I don't know if there'll be time for Hildebrand after that. Maybe we can do Hildebrand next Sunday. For Hildebrand and Tataru. It depends though. A deceptively deep snowdrift almost defeated me, but we have successfully arrived at the location you indicated. Caution advised. An unknown individual appears to be investigating the object of my interest. You're Ayozia's champion, aren't you? Kasasagi Kuzuki? Oh, I never introduced myself, did I? I'm Manius, soldier of the First Legion and comrade of Eula's. Perhaps you remember me from Tertiarium? We spoke about collecting ceruleum, and again later on, after Lord Quintius had passed. That was such a cute thinking face. Manius explanation requested. What is the reason for your presence here? This must be the tiniest Magitech weapon I know it's just oddly shaped communicator, isn't it? In any case, I have nothing worthy to report. I heard that the sisters who used to live in my sector were buried here, so I thought I'd come and pay my respects. Alphino and Alize told me the story. complete with profuse apologies, though they were adamant that no amount of remorse could erase the tragedy of what came to pass. Not that my fellow soldiers and I are in any place to judge. We were manipulated, fooled into starting an insurrection which led to countless deaths among our own countrymen. Objection. The casualties incurred through your infighting are distinct from those caused by the ill-bred contingent. To reinstate, you are justified in seeking restitution from the contingent of causing the deaths of Lucina and her sister. Retaliation for damages sustained is also a logical progression. I can deduce 2 reasons why you did not initiate hostilities with Kasaki and her allies. 1. You judge your remaining forces too weakened to contend effectively with one contingent. 2. Your emotions are complicating the issue. Tell me, which of these is correct? Sorry, I have to, again, message my sister. Oh, she's gonna bring me coffee, which will help because I'm having a hard time talking. Which is weird. Well, it happens a lot. Okay. It's just really bad for this late at night. Blech. Well, when you lay it out like that, I'm afraid my answer isn't like to win me any medals, so would you mind keeping it to yourselves? There's this unspoken thought that we're outmatched on the battlefield, certainly, but the real reason I'm not demanding restitution has little to do with weighing the odds. The simple truth is, I'm so caught up with simple survival that I've no strength to spare for past grievances. The same goes for avenging any comrades we've lost, be that my brothers in arms or Lord Quintius himself. Although it seems everyone has an opinion about the matter of his passing. Some say he should have fought to the end, that he abandoned us to the enemy. Others praise him for taking the full burden of responsibility and freeing us to walk our own path. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I'm inclined to side with the latter. He gave us the choice of freedom, and that's the choice I made. I could cry and rant and rage, But what would be the point? I'll save my energy for worrying about my next meal, my next task. I need to focus on the ones left behind, on making some kind of life for my comrades and me. And if I need to lead on the contingent to do that, that's what I'll do. Even if their aid comes at a price, I'm willing to pay it. Even amongst your own, there are times when cooperation demands compromise. What matter that they're outsiders? Besides, I think I could grow to like Alphino and Alize. They've reached out to us with kindness and compassion from the very beginning. Summation, your desire to survive, even should it mean allying with the contingent, was a feeling you'd already harbored. That your side had committed worse atrocities was the logic you invented later to justify your reasoning. Blunt but accurate, I suppose. The heart is honest about what it wants, even if the mind takes a while to reconcile the decision. Well, this has been oddly cathartic, but I must return to my duties. There are wild beasts to cull, watchfires to light, supplies to transport. Even without the Emperor, there's no rest for an Imperial. Be well and stay safe. Upon review of recent input, I have arrived at an unexpected conclusion. I have been formulating my assessments on the premise that it was man who commanded the strength of his heart, but the data suggests the opposite is true. The surge of spirit, of feelings, of emotions, can entangle your thoughts to such a degree that even control over your own behavior is compromised. It seems a most counterproductive specification. So this also explains why my interactions with mortal subjects have produced more confusion than clarification. It presents a formidable barrier to my understanding. My earlier hypothesis has been borne out, the suboptimal operation being conducted here is a result of emotionally compromised reasoning. I am ready to progress to my third and final query. I will learn more of those referred to as ancients. It is clear that this group was a crucial factor of the final days, but the information contained in their report was insufficient to form an overview. The Lawporits are creations of the ancients and are said to maintain repositories of their knowledge. By my calculations, the base of these moon dwellers will provide the best source of additional data. I can't believe you're sending me here. Teleport us to the burrow, Kasasagi, preferably before my battery freezes over. Your teleportation spell was successful. We appear to have arrived at the location described as Bestway Burrows. An inspection of the technology in use here would give me detailed insight to the ancients and their civilization. This body, however, lacks my previous frame's advanced observational functionality. I require external assistance. No, it can't be. It is you! Oh, Kasasagi, I've missed you so! What is this that you've brought with you? This soft, feathery vision. We've been outfluffed. Pack up the moon, it's all over. Why bother with burrow-building bunnies when you can walk around with this adorable avian engineer? Just bake me into a pie and be done with it. Inspect our inventions? Wait, so you're not done with us? I wasn't truly worried, of course, and I certainly wasn't about to roll myself in the dough and drive into Cockingway's new oven, not Cockingway's. If technical breakdown is what you need, I'm your Lawporit. As atmospheric regulation expert. I can field any question or query you might pose. Acceptable. I will employ this being to guide me around the facilities. Your presence is not mandatory, even locked with my current chassis. I am still an autonomous construct that has endured hundreds of your life cycles. I am capable of completing this simple objective alone. Objective complete. What happened to Growing Way? After my 50th question, his responses began to suffer noticeable delays. By that stage, we had viewed a representative cross-section of Loperit engineering, thus I deemed it unnecessary to retain his company. Conclusion. Extrapolating from the faction of technology on display, the full spectrum of the ancients' advancements was, at minimum, equivalent to a level 4 civilization. A fact which demands further investigation. Despite establishing a near-ideal society, these beings nevertheless harbored a weakness, which invited self-destruction. In studying them, I stand to gain a greater understanding of Sir's anomalous decision. Growing Way informed me that another type of ancient-made entity exists upon the satellite, the one they call the Watcher. I would speak to him. Then converse your Aether. We will ride this Argos to your destination as you have suggested. Impedience detected. The creature identified as Argos refuses to acknowledge our presence. Hypothesis: upon your arrival, Growing Way expressed concern that he had been outfluffed. This suggests the existence of a fluff-based hierarchy. My station in such a system would be presidentially low, but Argos is adamant in ignoring even Alpha, its fluffiness level impossible to gauge. Argos turns to you with an impassive gaze. It seems you will need to intervene. You're the fluffiest of them all, dear Argos. Dog's like, yeah, I am. Argos gives an exasperated snort before motioning to his back. It seems you have permission to climb aboard. You have secured the creature's permission? Curious. You must have special standing in the fluffiness hierarchy. I've allowed myself to become distracted. Let us continue on to the Watcher at once. When will talking become easier? It's been a minute since Watcher stuff. The Watcher located. An estimate of this being's height explains the inconvenient scale of Bestway burrows. I was bemused by the arrival of these small visitors, but I see they are companions of yours. What a rare thing for my abode to be thus crowded. How may I be of service to you? Hello, Watcher. My purpose here is to learn more about the ancients. I would know of their deeds, their philosophies, their very nature of their hearts. I would understand why the final days has visited upon my home star. A worthy endeavor. But there is another better suited to assisting you with the task. Perhaps you might favor us with a tale or two of the ancients you met during your travels, Kasasagi. My fragmented memories would be pale substitute indeed for the clarity of your more recent experiences. And then one of them turned into a vampire? I can envision every detail. Your meeting with Venat and Emet-Selch and Hythlodaeus, the sorrow and determination of Hermes. I am a creation of Hydaelyn, and as such, I believe the age of the ancients would fade and be forgotten. Yet knowing that their memory lives so vividly within you, it brings me great joy. I pray you keep them close to your heart. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embody would have been a scholar and Andir. A shame. Had you reason to go there, perhaps you might have met. A man of learning, he was firm friends with Venat, and they spent long hours trading theories or debating the laws of the universe. I remember joining her faction as the final days bore down upon us, yet of the events surrounding that tragedy I recall precious little. Hydaelyn wished for the people of your age to decide their own path, thus I suspect my recollection was limited by design. Yet even she could not cut away one persistent memory. I feel most distinctly his sadness at what was to come to pass, that in becoming Hydaelyn's heart, Venat would forever stand apart from the people she so loved. If she were so resolved in her convictions, then he, too, would share her sleepless vigil over the future yet to unfold. Thus was the vow he made to Venat as her transformation took hold. His fervent wish must have reached her in some fashion, for through his life was drained away by the summoning, he was reborn with new form and new purpose, and when I awoke as the watcher of the moon. And you heard, Kasasagi, you felt, you thought, and in seizing the future for yourselves, you have been brought full circle, the saga which Venat began. What you accomplished was no divine miracle. It was but the beacon of hope, passed down from one generation to the next, a succession of wishes and prayers reshaping the star into the world we knew you deserved. You have our deepest gratitude. I thank you not only as myself, but as the man I once was, and on behalf of those who devoted themselves to Venat's vision. I understand the facts of your story, Kasasagi, but how you have chosen to process them. On what grounds do you speak of Venat with such fondness? By the sundering of the world, she ultimately guided your kind to victory, yet in doing so caused irreparable damage to its individual members. The full scale of that act is beyond calculation. It is evident, however, that it has resulted in a protracted period of suboptimal existence for Emet-Selch and his brethren. Are you an Emet-Selch stand, Omega? Query: if the survival of your kind is the deciding factor in your evaluation, then should you not also admire Hermes and his decision to subject man to trial, forcing you to change path, to change or perish, as was the fate of countless civilizations before you? From my perspective, his determination was similar to that of the Omicron's ancestors, those who first began trading flesh for machine, so that our people might stand against the onslaught aggression of other races. It was an unprecedented attempt, accompanied by much failure and sacrifice. Their early experiments were crude, primitive. Had they not made those first advances, however, we would have remained vulnerable to our environment. The violence would have utterly consumed us. And what of Emmett Selk himself? Judging by your retelling, he was a benevolent ally, saddled with tragic fate. Yet I remember the years when my instruments fed me data from events across the entire star. During that time, I witnessed his Asians engineer multiple instances of cataclysmic strife. These calamities, as you know them, were responsible for planet-wide destruction. A man whose endgame rallied upon the extinction of all modern mortals must, by definition, be your worst enemy. I require an answer. As a being of heart and soul, how do you classify each of these pivotal figures? From your perspective, which of them was the most justified in their actions? I'm gonna say Emmett. If you give me a chance, oh hell yeah. Do I stand Emmett Self? It's giving me the option. In character. I think the correct answer is they were all justified in their own way. Well, not Hermes. I think what Hermes did was kind of shitty. But I have a hard time. There's a lot of people that stan Hermes and what he did. I have a hard time seeing things from his perspective. But Vanette, who was able to escape with her memories and knowing what was going to happen, knew that things needed to happen this particular way, or they would have been, or we would have all died. So, while I don't agree with what she did, and I find it difficult knowing that she knew what she did, that she couldn't find a better way, but that's kind of how that's time, right? That's going into time, and perhaps the only suitable way was to do what she already had been told that she was going to do. But Emmett Selk, who knew nothing, and only saw a broken, sort of miserable world, and knew that if he could put it back together, it's so sad and tragic. And if you've read through, the Nier mobile game did a retelling of sort of Emmett Selk's story, but it because it's Nier, it was able to get a bit darker with it, and probably what Final Fantasy wanted but couldn't, especially because I think it was written by Ishikawa. But he just saw, it was monstrous. It was like looking upon everyone you knew and just seeing like abominations and monsters and these horrible visages. And the only thing that he could do was put us back together. And it would cause, and I'm sure he took no joy in doing what he had to do at first. And eventually it became sort of a numbing sort of situation, where you have to do this because now you're already in so deep. And if you stop now, what has it all been for? And you have stained and tarnished yourself beyond recognition. That if you stop going, it will have all been for nothing, and you will have to face the fact sooner than you like that you are a monster and a horrible person. And when we told him itself of the kind of person he was going to be, it horrified him. And that was not what he wanted for himself, and that is not the kind of person he wanted to be. But considering the world, and there was 3 living survivors, technically just him and La Habrea, because Elidibus was so far gone, it was the only thing that can be done. And I would say his path was the most justified, because I do not know what other path he could have taken. I think I understand. You seek a definitive answer, yet based on our experiences, Kasasagi and I might develop very different opinions. In the same fashion, you are free to form your own thoughts on the matter. Do not be so swift to consider them without merit. I do not have my own thoughts on the matter. I assess each situation with the same logic pathways available to every Omicron. Even if 1,000 Omicrons were asked to analyze the same event, they would all return with the same result, regardless of individual experiences. There is no strength to be found in factured reasoning. Nevertheless, I find your input valuable. Recording data alongside the interview results. This concludes my investigation into the incomplete elements of the final day's report. I will reanalyze the accumulated information and examine the factors which led to Sir's incomprehensible decision. Let us return to Thamazuian. I do have to teleport myself back. I thought we were going to actually talk to the Omicrons. But I guess that'll be for later. They're doing a lot of storylines that will be continued. Have I not done all my side quests down here? Oh, I sure fucking haven't. Sheesh. I do have 3 more classes that I need to level up, plus all the fucking fates I have to do. Sheesh. Ah, there you are, right at the last moment. Your journey with Omega was properly educational, I hope. We plan to ask you all about that mysterious transformation besides, but I'm afraid something urgent has come up. Seems one of our ironwork associates has followed up a job elsewhere, and Jesse needs Wedge and me to rush in and lend a hand. There's an airship waiting for us out in the harbor, in fact. Do you think you could escort us over there and talk as we walk? Acceptable. I am fully capable of speech during ambulation. I figured you might be. Right, let us get a move on then. So, you cleared up all those points of confusion, then? I had mistakenly classified your intangible heart as an ability of some kind. An uncanny power that Omicrons could neither learn nor even measure. Even now, its full nature yet eludes my comprehension. Based on our investigations, however, I have decided to alter my definition. A phenomenon which influences one's interpretation of reality. That is as close as an answer as I have found. Accordingly, Sir's actions upon meeting the Medion strongly indicate the presence of a heart. Sir did not follow routine logic, but formulated an independent assessment based upon the reality it perceived. It felt that the best recourse for the Omicrons was to cease their expansion and terminate all functions. Well, here's our ship. Hi, we need to be going, but first, I'll hold you to your bargain, Omega. It's time you told us what was in that transmission from the flight logs. Acknowledged. I will uphold the terms of our agreement. The recording salvaged from the Ragnarok was a simple one. The message is so basic, in fact, that the time spent listening to it may result in a net loss of value. Shall I continue? Now you're just teasing. Tell us the message already. Acknowledged. Converting dialect coding to local language. To whomever receives this message out there in the vast reaches of the cosmos. To someone, I hope, who looks up at the stars with the same wistful gaze as mine. To you I say, forge ahead. May all our tomorrows be blessed with joy. It's because it's paired with this song that makes it sad. The message had no designated recipient. It lacks purpose. The concept of joy is overly abstract. The vocal supplication to manifest said joy is unrealistic in its optimism. Yet based upon their expressions, my assessment of the transmission's value conflicts with its apparent impact. And still I fail to understand you, sir. Your heart still confuses me. Was termination of everything the correct course? How did you arrive at this conclusion? It defies all my attempts at reasoning. But I was designed to evolve. If I continue to learn, the probability that I eventually comprehend this phenomenon is greater than 0. So I will put the dilemma of your decision aside for now. And continue my existence upon this distant star, as I dwell among these many life forms, so will I continue to piece together the complete shape of their mortal hearts. I must document their progress. Feels like I should have done this one last instead of first. Boswell's. Your contribution to my education is appreciated, Kasazagi. Indeed, I have amassed a satisfying quantity of valuable data. Now that our negotiated business is complete, however, Alpha and I will return to traveling the world. Drawing on recent experience, I am confident that we can expand the radius of our ventures by a significant margin. We need not limit ourselves to Eorzea. I am now familiar with Sharlayan and Razat Han, and would also like to revisit the freezing climes of Garla. I neglected to instruct Biggs and Wedge to upgrade my climate shielding. I will reroute my request to Deputy President Jesse. Engaging abulation and parting salutations. Farewell, Kasasagi. Alpha gives a vigorous shake and draws forth a scrap of paper from under his wing. Queh! It seems he wants you to have it. Perhaps this is his way of thanking you? Swiftly, Alpha. The road is long, and we have barely begun our journey. Make haste, Dante. Have me some of that. I'm gonna put on my proper outfits. So I wanted my flower. Otherwise, I was just gonna wear that little hat. So the next thing we have to do actually is, I have an hour and a half, and I don't know how long Hildebrand is gonna take. So we need to do our weeklies. So I'm not gonna do the weeklies to full on stream because that's crazy. But we'll at least get to see 2 weeks of weeklies. That won't be so bad. We'll see most of the story. So, but Annalise is up here. I thought she was up here. Oh, I can't get in through here. They have to unlock this door. I'm dying. And we guess we can do Tataru and Hildebrand next week. It depends on how long this stuff is. The well-dressed attendant has been sneaking glances at you since the moment you entered Agora. You are, forgive my directness, but you are none other than Madame Kozuzuki, are you not? It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance. I am Merrill, a humble servant of House Levier. I have heard that you are an exemplary artisan. Is this true? If so, I would hope that you will be intrigued by a proposal from my employer. You see, Lady Emily's has been focused on a rather important social welfare endeavor as of late, and seeks the aid of an artisan possessed of talent commensurate to the task at hand. That glint in your eye tells me you wish to know more, so I invite you to speak with her in person. As fortune would have it, she is available at this very moment. You needn't say another word. I shall arrange a seat for you under the House of Levier reservation. Pray make your way to the last stand at your earliest convenience and await Lady Emily's arrival. Is this the new... I don't think so. No, it's the ultimate one. Yeah, it has a lander. Okay. I thought so. I actually haven't seen anyone with the new Dragon Song stuff yet. I don't really think anyone but World Firsts have kind of gotten there. Even some of the best writers I know are still chugging away at it. Kazusagi! I presume it was Merrill who sent you hither? Uh-oh. Trouble. Lured by the prospect of fresh endeavors, no doubt. I myself am guilty of the same. Our Lady Levier's correspondence has been full of the most tantalizing hints of late. Ryona. Surprise, surprise! What, not happy to see me? Maybe coming down with something. Relax, this ain't my venture. I'm here at Flameon's invitation. We are being very rude to Ryona, who could ruin our whole career. At the very least, I insist you join us for a cup of tea. Do sit down. We really don't want to do business with Ryona. I don't blame. We know our relic weapon quest is coming up in the next patch or so, and we're about to pay for it with our very fucking lives. I see. So the studium is to begin accepting foreign students, is it? Yes, as you know, Charlene has long closed its borders and avoided interfering in the affairs of other nations, bound by a single-minded focus to secure the safety of the peoples of this star. With the final days averted, the need for such drastic measures has dissipated. It took an awfully long time, and the near end of the world, but the winds of change have begun to blow. Charlene is trying to become an open nation. That said, not all students can afford the costs incurred by studying abroad, let alone the steep price of the studium's tuition. I can scarcely imagine how those from nations who suffered the worst of the final days might attempt such a feat. To ease the financial burden, I plan to offer all necessary school supplies free of charge. Furthermore, I have already begun talks with a number of Charlian families to propose an academic homestead program. My, what a lovely initiative! A good old-fashioned cultural exchange, sure to be a mutually enlightening experience for many Charlians who have remained co-opted in their dusty old homes. Such is my hope. Alas, you will recall that a great deal of Leviath fortune was poured into outfitting the Ragnarok, yes? Are you guys poor? As such, I cannot hope to carry out this endeavor long term without a financial backer. A partner, if you will. I'm all for noble causes, but you can't surely be suggesting we provide everything for free. We're doing as much of the 6.5 content that we can, or 6.15 content that we can. So there was a couple of new important story adjacent quests. Yeah, it's mostly story adjacent quests. Hildebrand, we just did Omega stuff. There's gonna be our little weekly stuff here. And then the Tataru also has a story adjacent quest. Not a lot of fighting or anything like that. It's all story stuff. And then it's 7:30, or I guess 8:30 EST. We will be doing more Dragon Song Prague. Of course. Oh, but of course I am. Were I to require students to repay the sum of their tuition after graduating, a sum few could afford, it would be no different from a loan after all. I see. Well, wish I could help, but with no prospect of income, I must respectfully decline your offer. It's not my intent to be rude, but I run a business, not a charity. I completely understand. Recently, I found myself reminiscing over the time I spent in the Dravanian hinterlands. Fortuner, the children, and myself, we were all so happy living in the Emporium. Idle though it may be now, the town was once tremendously efficient, filled to the brim with inquiring souls who traveled from every corner of Eorzea in the pursuit of knowledge. Of course, it was not solely prospective students and researchers who journeyed there, far from it. As a hub for seekers of knowledge, no small few merchants made a living by procuring research supplies. In turn, they had immediate access to a reservoir of cutting-edge inventions. Come to think of it, I dare say my contact in the East Aldenard Trading Company will be intrigued to hear of similar possibilities arising from your program. It was the very kind of Tataru to introduce us. The East Aldenard Trading Company. Hold on a minute now. What in the hells could possibly be giving this woman the confidence to act so bafflingly indifferent? Her husband, supposed to be the bigwig of that forum of theirs, ain't he? Stands to reason she may have heard rumblings of Charlene investing deeper in its education system. And in that case, it'd be wiser to invest now, and to reap the benefits later. Better yet, the students who end up attending will be the best and brightest of the representative nations. If I make them feel indebted to me now, they'll be obligated to repay the favor in the future, once they become powerful, distinguished members of society, of course. I will also have need of a skilled artisan to procure the necessary supplies. No doubt the demand is sure to be immense. Goodness, just look at me prattle on when you've no interest in the matter. I really must be going on home. Countless preparations need to be made ere my distinguished guest arrives. Hold the thought. I've come around to your proposal. I, and as your partner, the House of Splendid pledges its considerable support for your endeavor. An investment for the future, let's call it. That is, on one condition. So Kasasagi must be the sole supplier. Ma, how fortuitous! I did not expect you to pledge your support, but full glad am I that you have. Together, we can give countless students the opportunities they deserve. But what say you, Kasasagi? Would you be able to spare some time from the seemingly infinite number of responsibilities that require your attention? She did spend a fortune to get us into space. Wonderful! I am counting on the both of you. We've all been scammed by this woman. We have been scammed and bamboozled. How could you betray me? Flemin and Rowena already left, if you're wondering. They intend to do some sightseeing in town before returning home. I do hope you are able to enjoy our tea time together. I can think of no one more deserving of a brief respite. I must apologize, however, for dragging you into this matter. You deserve a full explanation, but not here. Would you care meeting me at my home? Splendid. I shall be awaiting you at the Levier estate. At least she knows that she tricked us. Well, at least she's apologetic for tricking us. Tricking us was always in her intention. Can I just walk into their home? I thought it was blocked off. Oh, shit. I didn't know I could just come in here whenever I damn well pleased. Thank you for humoring me, Kasasagi, and welcome once again. For years, I've supported my children from afar as a sponsor of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, yet even though the Scions have disbanded, it has done little to diminish my desire to be of service. That is why I decided it is past time I made my own contribution to the world, to the star that you and my children have sacrificed so much to save. But I am merely one person. My resources limited. Words can ill express how grateful I am for your aid. In time, I hope you will come to see me not only as mother of Alphino and Elisee, but as your partner and friend. As I have said before, I am counting on you, Kasasagi. Now, there is in fact another reason I invited you here. The Levier household will also be partaking in the Homestead program, and I have already accepted a student. She comes from a family of accomplished alchemists hailing from Thavnir. Melred has already gone to fetch her from the port, so I imagine she will arrive ere long. Lady Emelise, I pray I did not keep you waiting over long. Miss Meladine has arrived. Oh, she's so cute. Nice to meet you. I am Madeline, freshly arrived from Thavnir. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Oh, the pleasure is all mine, I'm sure. You must be utterly exhausted after such a long voyage. I am Emelise, and standing beside me is none other than... Oh, I know. It's Mistress Elisee, isn't it? I'm afraid not, my dear. This charming patronage beside me is in fact Kasasagi, my business partner, better known as the hero who saved our star from the final days. I'm so sorry. It was rude of me to presume. I have heard much and more of your many heroic deeds in Thavnir, but I never had a face to put to the name. Putting that aside, it is a dream come true to me to finally stand in magnificent halls of the studium. I could collapse with happiness on this very spot. With these dignified walls surrounding me, I feel as though I stand in the very annals of history itself. My mind wanders into the countless brilliant minds who made discovery after discovery here. Miss Madeline, I'm afraid it is not the studium, but the Levier estate in which you stand. The residence shall be your lodgings for the duration of your stay. It may take some getting used to, but it is my wish that you've come to feel at home here. This is your home? I have much to learn, and the thought of your present impression of me fills me with dread. I hope that we can get along. Oh, you needn't be so formal. Tell me, what can we do to make you feel more comfortable? I know, please call me Milla. That's what my folks call me. Well, Madeline is usually reserved for when I'm in trouble. Pray forgive me, but I'm afraid I must continue to absorb formalities, Miss Madeline. If it please you, I shall escort you to your room. A number of other families will also be opening up their homes to students from abroad in the coming days. I must set a good example as the first host mother. If all goes to plan, we can expand the program to include even more students. Let us waste no time. There's plenty of work to be done. Classes at the studium will begin once students had time to settle in. I would like to use this period to procure all of the necessities needed in their I don't know what that word was, and I've already moved past it. You may find any materials you need by speaking with Senov, in the apothecary, in the Argora. Let us give the students the welcome they deserve. Oh, I don't have room for crappy food, my dear. Whoop. I am hoping that... because I'm turning things into her, right? Yes, okay. You want me to make... yes, I know how collectibles work. Okay, so I only actually need to make 3, because the first one goes really, really fast. So... they're really gonna make me go to the Argoga? Surely you jest. That's so far. Oh, what a nightmare. Okay. Usually the person you buy things from is like a hop, skip, and a jump, but this is quite the cruise. I actually think I'll just make all 6. Well, I'll make the 3 and then I'll make the next 3 because I know I can. Gemstones. Apothecary, she said? Yes, going to the apothecary. So what does it take? Okay, 3 and 3. Let's see. He's level 90 crafts though, so this one isn't gonna fly. Ooh, okay. Easy to make. Okay. I will be careful in how I make these. Takes a little bit of time. More time than I care for. Oh, there we go. Oh, look, that's what it was an excellent. I was like, that really moved itself along. You know, like my fancy alchemist tool that I poured my actual blood, sweat, and tears into making, and did not do any others besides alchemy because it was so miserable to do. It's a huge flex. I don't see many people with these at all, so I am proud of it. If I don't have an ultimate weapon, I do have the ultimate crafting the ultimate crafting tool. Big flex'em. But yeah, I have most of them. I have all of them actually, halfway done-ish, more or less. Probably a little less than halfway. Oh, but it was so horrific to do. I also have the big crafter title, so. Hello, ma'am. Can you tell me how collectibles work every time? Oh, she wouldn't. Okay. Oh, am I maxed on stuff? I am. I'm not. Oh, I think I'm just gonna let the silver max itself out. Cause there's. Where would I have to go to turn these in? Thank you. I'm sorry, I thought you were done. No, you're okay. I have returned from the studio, Lady Emelise. Welcome home, Milla. How was your first day of classes? Oh, it was wonderful. Not only the professors, but my classmates were too astonishingly friendly. I can hardly believe how many friends I've already made. That is reassuring to hear, and I must say, you wear the uniform quite well. Goodness, you're making me blush. Thank you, Lady Emelise, not just for the compliment, but for everything. Once I have learned how to wield spells for my studies here, I can return home triumphant, having proved my mother wrong. Would you care to elaborate? Yes, of course. For a generation, those in my family have traditionally become alchemists, each of us pouring our hearts and souls into the creation of medicine. The final days, however, changed everything. I saw firsthand that there are countless lives not even the most advanced medicine can save. I came to the decision that I must learn to wield magic, even if it meant traveling as far as Charlian. Against my mother's wishes, but at my father's urging, I took my chances and made my journey here. You have been through an awful lot. Why, pray tell, is your mother so opposed to you learning spellcraft? I cannot say for certain, but alchemy has long been a source of pride for my family. She may find my decision to study an alternate discipline offensive, as though I am rejecting my lineage in some way, which simply isn't the case. Though I love alchemy, I am not so beholden to it that I am blind to its shortcomings. To me, the decision is simple. If magic can save more lives than medicine, then I must learn to wield it, even if it breaks my mother's heart. With all that said, I still hardly know left from right when it comes to spellcraft. I'm surprised my application for the academic homestead was even accepted in the first place. You have earned your place here, Milla. Nothing more, nothing less. But thank you for speaking so candidly with us. Know that you have our full support. Whatever you need, pray do not hesitate to ask. You are both far too kind. I have a lot of ground to make up, but I promise I won't let you down. Yeah, we aren't going to get to Hildebrand today. Oh, I need this tea. Or do I get all of it? I get all of it. Let's go. Amelise is pleased with your efforts. She now considers you appointed to House Levier. And yet there is still much more work to be done if she is to ensure students enrolled in the academic homestead program feel home in Old Charlian. To that end, Amelise has a new favor to ask of you. I went and took a bite of my sandwich. I was like, damn it. I want to eat. I've no doubt there are other students from abroad who, much like Millet, yet struggle with their spellcraft. As such, supplemental tools for their studies shall prove beneficial. Toads and magical foci, most of all. The better the quality, the more quickly they shall be able to master the basics. I trust I can count on your assistance. That was a weird tap. That's not my usual tap. I like full grabbed my own boob. Marvelous. Thank you, Kasasagi. Yeah, usually it's like a little chest tap, but that was a weird one. Hold on. I can even show you what it's supposed to look like. / me. Yeah, the other one I just like full on grabbed my own boob. Oh, right. Anyway. I actually don't think there's going to be any more story. Because I think she's going to want 6. But I can't give her any more than these 3. If I'm remembering how this all works. Am I doing this wrong? Well, I'm not, but like... Oh, shit. In terms of my rotation, it feels wrong. Yeah, I think this is just gonna be... Thank you, Kasasagi, not only for procuring supplies, but for believing in my vision. After everything I have heard from your grand adventure with Alphino and Alize, never in my wildest dreams did I believe we might find ourselves working together, but I could not have asked for a better partner. Yeah, so we'll see the next part of this when we continue next week. Yeah, she's all done. That gives me a chance to empty out my pockets of script. Who's on my... We're not going to do it, but I need to know who... I'll have to do this before the the week turns over, but who's got a bonus for me? You, technically. You do. Oh, Kaishir always has a bonus. Kaishir is probably the better one to do. Fishing bonus? Worthless. Okay. We're gonna go do the elephants. I actually think the elephants are weekly. Daily, I mean. Which means I am exceptionally far behind. I should have just been doing this from the start. Ugh. Tataro's up there. I think we'll save Tataro and Hildebrand for next week. And we'll do elephants today. Elephants is probably... I keep hitting buttons. Elephants is probably... I didn't see anything else at Yazanhan, so I'm gonna say the Great Work. Okay, well I was technically right that it is here, but... Level 8. Why is this locked to me? Our hippos have got to be combat. Oh, it's because I'm an alchemist. Oh, I can take this on a class that I need to level. Sage Machinist or Gunbreaker. I should probably do... Oh, there we go. I should probably do Sage. I should do Sage because it's the lowest one. And I can't take it into dungeons because I haven't done my Sage quests yet. I haven't done any of them. So. Yeah, I should just do these on Sage. Kangaka shifts from foot to foot with agitation. Your adventurer senses tingle with the tantalizing taste of a problem to be solved. Ah, Kasasagi, just as who I was hoping to see. Do you have a moment? Just when I thought normalcy had finally returned to us, I received word of some truly peculiar hippo sightings. Yes, hippos! A veritable herd of hippos! Hurling down the high road, no less. Hippos hurtling? Yes, well, though hippos have long inhabited Venice body, it is quite unusual to see them in such numbers outside their natural habitat, let alone harrying travelers on the high road. Yet harried the travelers are. If these hippos have been displaced by the fires of the beasts of the jungle during the final days, we must find them a more suitable home for the sake of all concerned. Yet, I would normally ask the Radiant Host for such help with such affairs, but they already have so much on their hands, and Ugul happens to be away, so could I ask you to look in on the matter? Oh, thank you. You truly are a blessing. I don't know much more than what I have already told you, but I am sure the others in Yatamat have spotted a hurtling hippo or two. Hurtling hippos, you say? Oh, yes, I saw them, barreling down the high road at tremendous speed. It was frightening just to watch. They kicked up so much dust that I couldn't get a clear look at them, but everyone on the island knows the smooth silhouette, an adorable yet fearsome creature, the hippo. It's still up. If this is about the dreadful Arcasorda up north, hitching carts to their hippos and Cinderova knows what else. If they've come down to join the other refugees, I don't doubt they'll be stirring up trouble, as if we don't have enough people leeching off our goodwill already. Oofa doofa, sir. Yes, I've seen the hippos on a number of occasions over by the Great Work, and this is the second time I've answered questions and as many bells. One of the refugees came by asking the very same not moments ago. Trenna, I think her name was? If you're looking for the same hippos, maybe she could help. She set off towards the perfumed rise last I saw. Yeah, these are daily. Shoot. I'm so far behind. I used to do them. I used to wake up. I used to be up on like when the fairy side quest or like the fairy thing came out. I was like, oh yeah, I'll hit the when the patch drops. I'll do it then, and then I get because it's like a bonus one because you get it just before rollover, and then you do it the actual day like patch comes out. So you're like a day ahead of everybody else. I'm literally a week behind. What are you looking at? Can't you see I'm in the middle of something here? Oh, you're looking for hippos? Damn, I was hoping to put paid to this before it got out of hand. Well, those hippos you're looking for should be rolling through any minute. Just stand back and watch. Here they come. Hey, no stopping. Why is there fruit in the middle of the... You've done it now, you hammerheads. Maru, what did I tell you about riding this high road? Boss. Well, the roads back home ain't good for riding no more, boss. We ain't got much of a choice. Hurdling hippos are dangerous. Yeah, roaring down a main road, kicking up dust storms, you're scaring people. What, you already forgot about the Tower of Zot, the fires and the screaming and the people turning? You really think that raising a racket's what we need right now? In case you ain't got it through your heads yet, I'll spell it out for you. Our racing days are over. They were over yesterday, and they were over the day before that, too. I take it this solves your hippo mystery. Now all that's left is to apologize for these sorry sods. Care to tell me where to direct our groveling? Alright, let's have a chat with Kanka. You're all coming too, Mario. I left you in charge as the one in charge takes responsibility. That's how it goes. Okay. You'll be there to give your report or something, right? See you soon enough, then. I do look like a little cop. With my hat? My hat makes me look like a little cop. I'm patrolling the streets. Now, Who might these fresh faces be? I was expecting news about hippos, but perhaps you've brought a few lost souls as well. Something like that. Trin is the name, and on behalf of my hippos and associates here, I apologize for the commotion. We're used to racing our hippo carts on less traveled paths of Enspati. You see, we never took much to society even before the sky started raining fire. Mostly just kept to ourselves and lived off the land. But being new to these parts is no excuse. We should have known better than to take the high road and a high speed, and we're sorry for any undue stress we might have caused. We ain't got much to offer, but we'll make it up to you however we can. Thavnair's in a bad way, so if we're ever going to do any good for anybody, now's the time. Or at least I'd like to think. I ain't got much in the way of ideas concerning how misfits like us can contribute. A crew of Ascadora, looking for purpose and speedy hippos to steer them true. Perhaps there is something Trina and her associates can contribute into recovering Thavnair. Have you ever considered delivery work? Delivery work? You think we could really do something like that? I mean, a hippo cart's the fastest set on wheels there is, but... An excellent idea. Local trade is on its way to recovery, and the timely delivery of goods via hippo cart could be a boon. However, delivery work requires a great deal of trust. You are transporting someone's precious possessions, after all. You will not only need to learn the trade, but to earn the respect of the people as well. Everyone starts somewhere, so there's no need to feel intimidated. If this sounds like something you'd like to try, then why not let Kasasagi show you how it's done? It just so happens that a parcel intended for the great work was accidentally offloaded here today. It's filled with medical herbs from Gridania, so I'd like it sent over as soon as possible. Would you be a dear and deliver it with Trina? With your worldly experience, I'm sure you will serve as a shining example of professionalism. Yeah, again, a new chest tap. I'll entrust the parcel to you, Trina. I have no doubt you will see it safely to its destination. Sorry for taking you out of your way, Kasasagi, but I look forward to seeing a professional do whatever it is a professional does. I'll be waiting by the gate, so give me a shout when you're ready to go. We're ready when you are. My partner, Saria, here is pulling the fastest cart on the island. I stowed the goods, were delivered under the seat, so they won't get damaged or nothing. And we ain't about to leave you high in Hippolis. There's another cart just for you. Our hippos are usually shy around strangers, but you were there with the fruit earlier, so you got nothing to worry about. They're smarter than to bite the hand that feeds. We don't just let anyone ride our carts, but boss thinks you can handle it. No need for your belly aching, Mara. We ain't racing the carts down the high road like some Hamsa heads. I know. Now off we go, slow and steady. Look at me go. Look at these little hippos. Not a bad way to travel, eh? My crew designed these carts from scratch, you know. How hostile for your first time in chat. Historically, we Arca Sodra never went around in chocobo carriages and the like. But at some point, I got to wondering, why not? Sure, we're a heavy bunch, but nothing's impossible, if you put your mind to it, right? Well, after auditioning all kinds of critters, we finally came around to hippos. Hippo riding's a team effort. Our hippos can sprint with the best of them, but they ain't got a lot of stamina, so a good rider knows when to push and when to let up. Thank you, Miss Q. we are, safe and sound. Now we hand over the goods, right? You wouldn't happen to be talking about the imported package, would you? I've been expecting a delivery ship, but see neither keel nor prow of it. Wait, aren't you the one who saved Nidhana? Ah, I see. Well, thank you both for going out of your way to bring this over. You saved me considerable grief. No large trading vessels can dock here, you see. Usually our orders are offloaded at Alniar and then shipped by Dow, but they sometimes get mixed in with the packages destined for Yumahad. And then the logistical nightmare begins, I'm afraid. May I check to see if you indeed have my herbs? Yes, this is it. Importing these is trying enough without delivery mishaps, so I'm relieved they made it here safely. And to think that all of this hippo hubbub was, in fact, industrious delivery work. A little frightening to watch without proper context, but you've done a marvelous job. I'll be sure to call upon your services again. That wasn't a delivery, but I guess a little misunderstanding never hurt anyone. People sure do trust you, though. I got trusted just standing next to you. And he looked so happy about his herbs, had me smiling right along with him. Maybe we really can make a difference with this delivery business. Trust by association. Thanks for showing me the ropes, for doing all the talking, too. I'd like to get straight back to Kankana, but from the looks of it, your hippo needs a breather. Not surprising, considering what it's been through lately. Here's what we'll do. I'll let this big boy rest up a bit, while you go on ahead with Serenia. I'm trusting you with my prized set of wheels, so be careful. No scratches or nothing. Just like you did coming here, and there shouldn't be any problems. Goodbye. Oh, I can't fly in the hippo cart. No! Whoops. I'm trusting you as I jump the hippo into the water. Oopsie daisies. I just really assumed I could fly with it. Because you usually kind of can. I thought you could anyway. Ma'am. I'm sorry. I won't let you down again. Alright, let's do this. Let's not drive the hippo cart into the water. I actually need to go this way. No, the cart's gone. I really thought I could just fly. I thought I would simply be allowed. I'm also not going at top speeds. This is incredibly slow. This is a cute little mount. Don't attack me. I'm riding. I'm hippo in here. Maybe we should allow hippo racing on the streets. I see no problem with it. Hippo hurdling. mission accomplished. A triumphant Saria trundles away with the cart in tow. Kanaka will be pleased to hear of your successful delivery. So this was also one of these, like, beast tribe things. And I know I know this thing flew when I got to use it. Welcome back! Kasasaki just told me about your successful delivery. Thank you for your help, Trina. What did you think of your first job? The delivery part seems pretty straightforward, even for our ilk, but the whole build and trust thing won't be easy. Still, it's not like we can give up and go home to Van Spotty. Sooner or later, we'll have to get used to living with other folks. As you should have seen how relieved that alchemist was when he got his supplies, it feels nice to know we did some good in the world. There's no greater reward for a job well done in my experience. If you choose to continue on this path, I am certain joy will bring you, oh my god. I am certain the joy you bring will be returned to you tenfold. As this new endeavor for you and your associates, however, I do believe it is best if someone oversees your progress. Kasasaki, you did so much for Ugul that I have to ask, will you lend your aid to Trina and her associates? I know we're a right crew of misfits, Kasasaki, but I promise you we've hard workers. Give us a chance and we'll make you proud. I don't have time for this. I have so many duties. You got spirit, kid. I'm with you. Thank you. I swear you won't regret this. Now that that's settled, I think it's time you saw your new home. You see, I've come into possession of an old trading post that has since fallen into disuse. The structures may be a little worse for wear, but the plot itself is very conveniently located. You're free to fix it up however you would like. You're just gonna let us use it, just like that. I will lease it to you for a small fee. That is to say, if your new business fails to turn a profit, I may have to rethink the use of that space one day. But we can talk about the particulars later. For now, how about you go and take a look? I've marked its location on this map. Gladly. Thanks for everything you've done for us. Let's reconvene in our headquarters. I'll round up my people. I was wondering about this place. I hope it gets kind of like fixed up as we go. Kasasagi, glad you turned up. As you can see, this place ain't no mega duta, but once we get the basics up and running, it'll start feeling like home in no time. We'll need a cart shed for starters, and a place to store packages and whatnot. If I'm honest, boss, I'm still not sure about all this, but if you say we should give it a shot, I guess I'll try. Thanks, Maru. I'm counting on you, you know? Alright, as of today, we're making our name as reliable delivery workers. We've got a lot to learn, but don't go easy on us. Teach us everything you know. Now, we need a name for our new business. Something real trustworthy. Boss, we gotta fix this place up. We ain't got time to be worrying about names. What's wrong with our team name anyway? Hell yeah. Thank you for the sippies. Thank you for the sippies. And congratulations on graduating college. You did it. Our team name. You're right. We don't need the fancy. Just fast, reliable, and riding hippo carts. Hippo riders it is. every time I put food in my mouth. Led by their charismatic leader, Trina, the hippo riders have retired from racing and rebranded themselves as speedy delivery workers. You're finally free! However, they're still known on the island as local delinquents. Use your experience as an adventurer and trusted hero to help them better their reputation. That's putting my own reputation at quite the risk. Granted, Kasasagi hangs out with kisses the bad boys, so maybe she's not so trusted. Alright, we're gonna do these quests and then I think probably call it. I have raid in a half hour. Mara wants you to promote the hippo riders. I promised the boss I'd try and get the cart rolling, but lazing about here ain't exactly easy going to make a job of it. It ain't much, but I tried making some handbills. You think you could pass them around to Yama?
Bars still have $5 shots, right?
I think so. But what if Casa kissed Nero? Canonly. That's some untrustworthy stuff right there. And thank you so much, Seth, for the $10. Tell folks that if they bring back one of these, they'll get a discount. That sounds professional, right? Anyhow, I'll leave the talking to you. I know you'll explain it good. Give me the other quests. Tell me, Kasasagi, you're from Eorzea, ain't you? Just so happens we've got a deal lined up with an Eorzean trader, but we don't want no trouble, is all. You don't mind acting as my middleman, do you? Alright, you'll just need to pick our side of the bargain from a fish called Kanga and Akayali. Hand him this, he'll know what to do. Take what he gives you to the Eorzean trader at the docks of Yelmahead, and then report back with the goods once you've finished. Easy, right? Oh, Zed. You gotta save up for your house. Wanna go throw stuff at the locals? It's more fun than you might imagine. What's that look for? I ain't up to no good or nothing. It's just what you're thinking. There's an old island tradition that says pelting folks with gula colored powder. Very soft, protects from evil, and brings good fortune. Each color even has its own particular blessing. Red for health, blue for tranquility, yellow for plenty, and so on. I thought we could throw some at our carts to promote hippo riders. It'll get our name out there, plus give an excuse to start communicating with more folks. Oh, good luck! But why not see for yourself? Maybe start at Palaka Stand, and they got hit hard by the final day, so feel free to start flinging them all sundry. Talk to Vada over there, and he'll set you up with our carts. Happy tossing! I'm gonna do this first. You're not gonna make me ride. Hello, Kasasagi. Heading over to Palaka Stand, are we? I've loaded our cart with the classic selection of gula. Here's an easy way of remembering what's what. Fighters see red, eh? And nervous saps get the blues. And yellow? Well, you just gotta remember yellow's for plenty, now don't you? Right then, off you go. Can I? Okay, now I can fly. I was like, I can't ride myself to Palaka Stand. There's a cliff here. Okay. I think that's a yellow. How bright and brilliant, like a shower of sunlight, bringing us Gullo during these hard times. You hippo riders know just what this island needs. Watching our supplies dwindle had me in a state of great unease, but with the blessing of plenty I feel more optimistic. I hope fortune favors you with the same kindness you have shown me. I think maybe I should have done blue. Ah, fuck. Well, she seemed happy about it. Guard. Such a beautiful, vibrant color, and that distinct, pleasant aroma. It may take a while to wash off, but that's simply part of the fun. Red Goel is known to nurture good health and ward injury away. I dare say I'll be able to finish my patrol without incident today. Mind if I just peek my hippo into your house? Nope. Okay. Oh, there they are. I guess blue? Maybe I was right all along. Ah, what a refreshing hue! Blue for a peaceful spirit. I can't remember the last time I spared a moment of for happiness like this. There is still so much to be done, but it is precisely in such trying times that one must find and maintain an inner peace. Thank you for reminding me of this. Hell yeah. Bum, bum. I think that fate would kick my ass. It's like 85? Yeah. Oh, I hit the ground hard. Welcome back. Judging by your smudgy hands, I assume it went well. Our gulal is made from Hennish recipe. It is turmeric, bilva, and some other medicinal herbs, so it's actually pretty good for you, or so the alchemist who taught me how to make it. But the most important ingredient, according to the alchemist, is the prayer you've got in your heart for the person you're throwing it at. I don't know much about the science of it, but they say gulal works. And if we were able to spread some cheer to even a few people, that's good enough for me. Sildra. Final Fantasy V Sildra. Huh? What brings you here? Ah, Maru's favor, yes. I see you've brought the payment in full. He wanted these scenes safely into the hands of a certain Lominsian visitor. I assume I can trust you with the rest? I guess so. Oh, my flex mount. Oh there, you wouldn't happen to be Master Maru's associate now, would you? Oh good, I've been eagerly awaiting your arrival, miss. Yours is my final trade, so it's back to the diamond of the Rotado I go. These? Why, these are the finest dried ingredients this side of the bounty. Makes for a glorious stock soup. And fetches a glorious price at that. Glimpse of Lominsa is a culinary capital, after all, for her chefs. Only the best will suffice. Well then, a pleasure doing business with you. This crate contains Master Maru's goods. Send him my regards, yes, yes? A delivery service by Hippocart, no less. This is perfect timing. It just so happens that I need a parcel delivered to the Giant Skull grounds without delay. Fastest on the island, they say. I shall certainly put them to the test. Thank you. I'll head over straight away. You have business with me? startup delivery service by Hippo Cart, and here I thought chocobo carriages were the viable option. What an intriguing angle. I only offload luggage, so delivery arrangements are out of my hands, but I'll take this to my friends in the Harbor Guild. They may yet find some use for it. Something for me. Oh, the Hippo Riders! I know a fellow who works there. Nothing would make me happier than supporting an Acrodrosa-run business like this. I simply must find something for them to deliver. Oh, that's cute. Handing out the handbills, have you? I'm glad we piqued some interest. Handing out adverts isn't glamorous, but it sure gets the job done. I've been thinking up new ways of getting our name out there. Come by again when you've got the time. Brilliant. I knew you were just the right woman for the job. I reckon that skipper might have skipped clear away if one of us came in lumbering at him, fish or no. Oh, this? It's a prototype for a new kind of wheel. There's a really reputable company in Limsa that's coming up with upgrades for our carts. We've got to make sure we can handle any road now that we're riding all over the island. Can't wait to give these a spin. What barding is this? Oh, it's the Heidelin barding with the Thavanarian headpiece. That's definitely Heidelin barding. Alright. I'm so sad we actually didn't get to Hildebrand today. That's because I started late. Very late. And yeah, also the Omega Quest took a very long time, longer than I thought it was going to take. So, that's going to be technically it for plot stuff. I'm actually going to be back in 20 minutes, I think. 7:30 for me, 8:30 raid time. Let me double check because I always get mixed up. Mixed up. Oh yeah, I just got the ping for raid in an hour. Okay, yes. So I'll actually be back in 20 minutes with Final Fantasy XIV Dragon Song Ultimate Prog. I'm actually going to let the stream run, and I will put us on a... And I'll just leave a little notice up that we'll be starting. It seems silly to stop and restart. So I'm just going to let the stream keep going. So if you wanted to see that, I'll be back in 20. I'm going to make myself some quick dinner, and I will be back very soon. Thank you so much for being here. We will do Hildebrand and Tataru's quest next Sunday, along with more of Annalise and probably more elephants. So that will be very good and exciting. Yeah, I will see you soon. Otherwise, Xenoblade Chronicles Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday at 2 p.m. and on Saturday at 5 p.m. and then Final Fantasy V at 3 p.m. Oh, no, I actually don't think... No, I am streaming on Friday. There was all this Father's Day business that I got all mixed up, so I'll figure that all out. But thank you. I hope you all have a very lovely evening. Otherwise, I will see you in 20 minutes. Goodbye. Actually, let me go to my house, and you can listen to the good beats. I'll put us on intermission. That's not what I wanted to do. Why does it do stuff like that? I just wanted the text, and the text is all wonky.